So now we're going to do an exercise which is really one of the best learning exercises for learning to do the figure that I know. I put it in my book, I had it on my first DVD, and I'm going to include it here because this is the one you should all do. And it's really quite simple, and it involves big shapes, thick lines, and big shapes. And all I'm doing is I'm looking for the main contour lines that describe what the pose is doing, and I'm going to put them in so thickly that they have to be simplified. And I'm going to position it on the page so that it's going to be really big. And the only way I can be sure of doing that is by running the head off the page. So I do that by starting at the top of the page, and I'm only going to include the bottom half of the head. So that sort of establishes the size of what I'm going to have. And I'm just approximating. This doesn't have to do with getting exact proportions or anything, but it does have to do with observing the position of the contours and the fact that they're in front, some are in front and some are behind. For example, the forehead line down to the nose is in front and behind, and the cheekbone is behind. So I'm observing where things are positioned in relationship to each other. The neck comes down, and the lines that describe the cradle that the neck sits in are actually in front, and they describe the top of the chest. And it's okay if I run off the page anywhere. I'm also using the wide and narrow stroke. And we see, for example, the breast is on top of the rib cage. It's cut off by the rib cage. And the same on the other side. The arm is cut off by the breast as well. So these lines, the breast overlaps, the forearm overlaps, and the fingers overlap. So I'm putting in the lines that are in front before I put in the lines that are behind. Sometimes I also call this just thinking of in front or behind. So you decide, all right, this, for example, this forearm is in front of the upper arm, so this line is cut off by this line. This hand goes over the hip in front. Now the hip comes back out the other side. This whole upper leg on the left sits on top of the pelvis, in front of the pelvis. And the pelvis itself sits up on top of the other leg. Now this upper leg comes out from behind the hand, comes the knee. Notice how this thigh, this upper leg, sits on top of the calf or the lower leg. As I said, it doesn't matter if we run off the page. To get this right, you have to do it really big. And there we have the big shapes, wide line in front and behind.